On this episode of That Kingsville Podcast, it's the last episode of 2022. Steve talks Kingsville High School sports. Kevin has a semi-ish big, kind of biggie announcement.
It's huge.
And she's not here anymore. She left. But special guest Kalila I'Anson got to do something incredible, and we brought her on. Kevin and I brought her on. It wasn't Steve's deal, but Kevin and I brought her on to tell her story about what she got to do in government over the last 4 weeks. So stay tuned for this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. That Kingsville Podcast is brought to you by Kingsville Brewery. Here to make all your beer dreams come true are Kingsville Brewery's holiday gift packs. Each gift pack includes a variety 4-pack, 2 17-ounce branded glasses, and a $25 gift card to the Kingsville Brewery Tap House. Available in the online store and at the Tap House. Visit www.kingsvillebrewery.com/shop. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting That Kingsville Podcast.
Ho, ho, ho.
Said Santa, is he bringing me a gift of delicious beer and glasses and gift cards for food?
But not beer glasses.
Not beer glasses. Branded glasses. Anyway, thank you to Kingsville Brewery. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Hunt. With me, Kevin Black.
Wicked.
Steve I'Anson, and special guest this week, Kalila I'Anson. We got something for you later, so just hold on. We're going to get to the things, and we'll get to you, Kalila, okay?
So question, in plural I'Anson, is it I's Anson or I'Ansons?
I'Ansons.
You heard it?
I'Ansons?
Eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, but wouldn't you have to pluralize the I as well?
No. I's Ansons?
No.
Oh, God.
No,
Is it O'Neill's? O'Reilly's? Kevin? Like, really?
Yeah, but that apostrophe mid-word kind of, it does throw...
No, it does nothing.
It does nothing.
It does
except
nothing.
for make people say our name wrong.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah,
so-
I'm sure.
Wait. She's our guest, and she's already chiming into the host. It's
It's-
like,
I'm
she's
sorry.
natural.
I'm sorry.
She's a natural.
I was
No, I'm
wanted to
sorry.
say thanks for having me
sorry.
back.
Yeah, well, welcome. See, I did an episode with Steve solo, and then I did an episode with Kevin solo. So now you guys get to do an episode, and then
Wait, I have a question. So if the pair of you owned something, would it be I's Ansons Ansons? I's Ansons.
he's terrible. He's terrible. He's
Wow.
I's
Should we go do another show without him?
Yeah, he's just gonna keep digging. Just keep digging. Well. Oh, there's not been much council news lately because the new council just got sworn in. They're figuring out how to do things and whatnot. So
where the washroom is.
yeah, how many motions you can make, and
I was going to say getting their feet wet, but they could do.
In the washroom?
Ba-dum-ching.
That's not where that happens.
No, it was
or
just
should.
funny how anyway.
And anyway, beginning of next year, it's your favorite topic, guys. Budget.
Budget.
Love me a budget.
Yeah, so hopefully after the holiday season, we'll have budget deliberation, budget talks, insights, whatnot.
Makes sense.
Oh,
Oh boy! Thank you, Gary Glass.
I can't wait to go line by line. I'm gonna take the 47-page document, and I think that in the episode that we talk about it, we'll just start from the top and just read every line.
Oh boy, I can hear the listeners leaving.
Insomnia cure.
Animal control.
Thank you for watching. The demise of this podcast is courtesy of Kevin Black and his.
Wow. We're not touching the animal.
You guys
We're not barking up that tree.
I'll tell you what, you guys could do a regular podcast and I'll just stand in the background just reading.
The budget for tree trimming.
They're branching out with that one this year.
Well, if they add $13,000 to the budget for tree trimming, it'll almost reach the amount that they spent on legal fees for 183 Main.
Good grief, let it go. Okay, so
Kevin, we have a moratorium on that subject.
that is the last mention of that in 2022, and it will not be referred to
we
in
discussed
2023.
after Sebastian's episode, there is a moratorium unless anything newsworthy occurs on said property.
What about legal fees and the budget that we're going to be discussing?
That's newsworthy.
Okay.
Moving on.
At least we get to do the year in review first.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
How smart we are.
yeah. Boy, you got all that data from when we were predicting?
Somewhere, or I'll just watch the episode and write it down.
Yeah, that's look at the homework. See the prep we do? This is professional.
Watch ourselves.
Professional.
What did I say again? To quote
Why do
myself.
I look like I do?
I haven't had any of those yet. Like, Dave, yeah, remember on episode 6, you said this? Yeah, what? I haven't had any of those.
Because
So
nobody watched episode 6.
they might go back and rewatch it now. Like, what do you
That's the
say?
hope.
What do you say in episode 6? Steve, you're wearing a Kingsville Cavaliers hoodie, which,
Yes.
by the way, I have ordered one as well because that name will be gone in a couple of years. So I have to commemorate the fact that I am a Cavalier as well and supporting, because the new school will not be the Cavaliers.
Well,
Hey, if anything goes, any of the schools that were built didn't carry on the legacy mascot name or nickname from any of the feeder schools.
Leamington.
Yeah, but Leamington was Leamington. It wasn't a combined school.
Sure, but
It's still Leamington High School. They just built a new Leamington High School. If they built a K-12, it wouldn't be
valid. Okay.
right. So
Maybe if it was they combined the Harrow Hawks and the Cavaliers, it'd be like the Flying Cavaliers.
Well, actually, somebody
Like the
said
Pegasuses?
somebody did combine the Cavaliers and the Hawks.
The Hoggliers.
No, the
See,
Cocks.
this is a family podcast, Steve. We're not
We
talking
could
about
edit.
chicken.
We could edit.
Why
that
would you
one.
go there?
Not
You
talking-
could do like
I-
Havelock.
You brought it up.
I-
You brought up combining the words.
Listen, there is only one Cox nickname, and that is South Carolina, right?
Yeah, the Gamecocks.
The Gamecocks.
Yes.
So that's it. We can't take that. So I think it's going to be something else, right? Because we've got Harrow and Kingsville
But we-
Public and Jack Minor,
Okay, so
right? The Angry Geese. Oh,
yeah, we're gonna have Angry Steve though because we have Harrow students,
Mhm.
but that school closed like 4 or 5 years ago,
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
6
but
years
it's
ago.
still like history. It's tradition. They've those students are just kind of been hanging out in Kingsville, right? Until
Well, yeah, but if we were going to incorporate the Harrow Hawks name, it should have been done right away when they closed the school. Why would we do it 6 years after?
still KDHS, right? Still the same. They just got transferred there. They
Right,
didn't
right.
change the
So
It's a whole new school. Anyway, moving on. That wasn't the point I was trying to make. What it was is there's been a lot happening at the high school and a lot of recent successes.
yes,
Steve, could we get the sports report from Steve I'Anson, please?
we want to go there now, or do we
Kingsville-
want to?
And we're going to go there right now.
Okay, crazy start. So you had the golf team, the men's golf team, which finished second at SWASA, and due to the inability of the SWASA champions to be able to compete at OFSA, KDHS boys golf competed at OFSA in London, I believe. Then the cross country team, the junior girls team, led by Sylvia Ross, competed at OFSA. And Kale Pekowski, a grade 9 student, also competed at OFSA cross country. And then you had the really crazy season where the girls basketball teams and the boys volleyball teams, their seasons overlap. All 4 teams made it to the WEXA final.
Mm-hmm.
The junior boys lost the final, and fantastic season. And I watched a couple of their games, really exciting stuff. And from what I could tell, a lot of grade 9s on that team. And there's no shame in, it hurts to lose a final, but there's no shame in losing the final when you've got that bright future. The junior girls basketball team won WEXA, won SWASA. Senior girls basketball team won WEXA and SWASA. Senior boys volleyball team won WEXA and SWASA. And both the senior teams finished in the top 8 at OFSA this year.
Jeez.
So it's
Is there enough room for all the banners?
well, that's an interesting topic because Sue Nurse, the phys ed department head, I coached at the high school too, and 10 years ago we won a championship, and they still don't have the banner up. And so it's interesting. So yeah, I'm going to make the point, and Sue's a listener, which we appreciate, but I'll make the point that right now there is room for all the banners.
Yeah.
But there's a few layers to this story too, because KDHS relies in part on community coaches. So people who aren't members of their staff. And I was talking to Sue earlier. I invited her on, but she had a prior engagement. But she did give me a little bit of information. And what she said was that some schools, if they don't have a coach for a specific sport, they don't run the program. She said at KDHS, if there isn't a staff member at the time willing to step up, then they start sending emails out and they recruit. Now, the junior girls team, the head coach was Rudy Dick, not a teacher. His daughter played on the team. He's a well-known youth coach in the community. He's coached baseball. I actually coached Kalila one year. He's coached basketball, did an outstanding job. The senior girls team is coached by Mark Scher. They actually, there's different tiers in high school sports. They played up a tier in the regular season. So they were playing a lot of the larger schools who have obviously more club players and a greater area to draw from. And while their regular season record may not show how good they were, it certainly prepared them for their playoff run, playing against higher caliber. The junior boys team was coached by now, and if I'm incorrect, I apologize in advance, and if I miss someone, I apologize in advance. But John Lonke, who is a teacher at the school, and Vince Ruggiero, who is a teacher, but an elementary school teacher. So they coached the junior boys team. The senior boys team was, I believe, Vince and Don Fetter, also a teacher, but at Jack Minor Public School. And when I was talking to Sue, she indicated that Kingsville District High School really is a community school. She said there were people coming out to these games who have no direct affiliation currently with the school. Maybe their kids had been in the past, or maybe they just like the sports in general. She said that Don's kids, who are, I want to say, early and mid-20s now, both KDHS graduates, they were coming out to watch games. So that level of community from the coaching standpoint and the fan standpoint was just as impressive, I think, as the results of the teams. So I don't want to omit Martin Morfitt, who coached the golf team, and Christine Hickey and Paul Jelinas, who coached the cross country team. And I apologize, I don't know who the staff rep was on the junior girls team. I forgot to get that information, so I will get it for the next episode.
You're only human,
and we will credit that individual.
It's
and Greg Dreger. Greg Dreger helped Mark Scher with the senior girls.
There.
So,
yeah, it's nice to see all the attendance. Like taking the dog for a walk by the high school, Migration Hall, and the Kingsville gym, high school gym, was packed, for weeks solid because of all the sports and the attendance for fans, and it just blew my mind. Like, what's going on? Is there a convention or something? No, it was night after night after night.
Well, the high school has a sports Instagram account, and they showed, and I assume it was accurate. I think it was one of the girls' teams, I think, were playing in Windsor, and it showed the Kingsville crowd, and you've got students there, signs, noisemakers, whatever, and then one fan of another team. Well, maybe that was just part of this. You would like to think there were maybe a couple more parents there, but Kingsville travels well, especially when there's really something at stake. So, congratulations to all the athletes, all the coaches. And I don't want, there's always a risk when you focus on athletics that, what about arts and what about academics? Well, I'm sorry, we're just focusing on this right now, but really quickly, big picture, yeah, Kingsville District High School really does have a lot to offer. And when we will certainly touch on those other subjects. But athletically, it's been a phenomenal start to the year.
And if anyone needs to know anything else that's happening there, they can listen to the Cavs podcast, right?
Yeah, I believe they're getting into...
it's a thing.
They've started one? Okay, yeah. I know it was discussed.
Significant competition.
That other Kingsville podcast?
That other Kingsville podcast. I think it's called the Cavs podcast. Actually,
okay.
I'm going to look it up because I started subscribing. Hold on. Please continue.
Yeah.
While I just stare at my phone for a few minutes.
Don't worry. I have to do it every now and again too.
Do staring.
No, but so Sue has been impressed. So the other side of it, and I don't want to say the downside, but as another coach in that building, man, is the pressure on.
Yeah.
Come spring when I've got to roll out soccer and all these teams and been winning, I'm thinking, come
on, Steve, do some push-ups, get your body in prep, to you got to hustle with those.
But I did it 10 years ago.
Be like Dan Campbell, right? Look at that motivation the Detroit Lions have.
Look at it, 6 and 7.
But look, BNL, brand new Lions. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking, this is not a Lions podcast.
It's just a setup for...
So that's some significance that's happening in the community at the high school. And that's fantastic to see that all those teams are having success and whatnot. And it's spectacular to see the attendance and the team spirit, right?
For sure. Yeah.
I've seen a ton of Cavaliers gear all over town. And I think it's as a direct result that everybody's catching Cavs fever and, happy for the successes. So congratulations, Kingsville High School champions in your respective sports.
The Cavs podcast. I was right.
Okay,
The Cavs
there we
podcast.
go. So
Not to be
anyone,
mistaken.
Not that Cavs podcast. The Cavs podcast.
no, but
That was
anyone-
available? Like the Cleveland Cavaliers? Nobody's got that one?
Apparently.
Well, congratulations for jumping all over a major NBA, possible name.
Yeah.
podcast.
There we go. Give it a listen.
It is Cleveland, too.
They should probably make sure that they nail down the Pegasuses too. Just so they can be those flying horses.
Kevin, you have a full-time job usually during the week, don't you?
Isn't it podcasting?
Yeah, no, it's
I thought this is just
It's-
what I do.
it's not podcasting, contrary to popular belief. You had a big week this
We had a big week.
Kev, what happened?
So I am, and just so everyone understands, everything I'm about to say is extremely biased. I am the communications and public relations specialist for Erie Shores Health Care. And so we announced this week that the provincial government is providing operational dollars for a new MRI machine, which
Wow.
is the first for our hospital in Leamington, and with another machine coming to Windsor Regional, it's going to double MRI capacity in Windsor, Essex, which is significant. Significant.
How many wheels did you have to grease to get that to happen?
So many.
Yeah, all of the wheels.
So people understand, like there's been a drive by the clinical team at Erie Shores for 2 solid years, putting together case studies, stats, writing reports, providing information to the government, and then getting the right political appointees, elected that are able to advocate on the hospital's behalf and kind of help grease some of those wheels too. And now here we are with one of several to come significant announcements for Erie Shores Health Care.
Could it be a second MRI machine? Maybe a third?
So
Are they being sold at like a car dealership?
yeah,
Would that be an MRI?
or MRIs, MRI?
Steve, this is why you contribute to this podcast, because you're witty. So yes, many things.
Many things. And
Been
here,
called that, but
so
it
now,
just rhymes with witty.
Steven. So now we've been to get a handle on what it actually means. So the hospital's been approved for the operational dollars of it, which to the tune of $800,000 per year in annualized funding. So in perpetuity.
Wow.
But now we have to pay for it.
Well, I think there's more than that too. Like, where are you going to put it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're going to put it in the front parking lot underneath that, overhang?
No.
Drive-through MRIs? Like,
Well-
the hospital's landlocked, right?
Hey.
That's in a neighborhood.
The funny thing. So yeah, you're right. But the people, when they decided to build the hospital back in 1950, had the foresight to build the foundations of the hospital so that we could build up.
Ooh.
So the engineers, like as recently as last year, have come in to say that there is an ability to build stories on top of the hospital.
I was going to say, what a
6.
great story.
Steven.
So yes, okay.
So now you're not putting an MRI on like the
Yeah,
5th
12th floor, yeah.
and there will have to be some significant construction. But that said, the hospital is looking at, all different opportunities of what that project could look like. How do we redevelop the entire diagnostic imaging department, CT scans, mammography, x-ray machines that are nearing end of life to be able to fit that MRI in, and then as well upgrade a lot of the other equipment. So there's going to be a significant fundraising push coming in the new year.
Yeah. How is the current fundraising push happening? Is it?
Well, it hasn't launched yet.
Well, no, the 50-50.
Well, hey, if anyone would like to purchase 50/50 tickets, they are on sale at erieshores5050.ca.
Oh, there. See how that shameless plug worked in there? It's like I knew.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
But yeah, so
But and
news
and
to come.
There are it's funny. And obviously, again, from a biased point of view as the communications person for the hospital, I can tell you that I frequently hear in the community, when is the hospital going to close? Or the hospital is going to shut down when the mega hospital is closing, right? And they just say it like it's a fact. Yeah. And I think that this funding announcement shows that the provincial government is not only showing that the hospital is valued, is needed, but it's needed into the future with significant investments into the hospital and into the infrastructure. And like I said, this is the first of several that are going to be coming. It's an exciting time for that facility.
Yeah. What's the assumed radius for attendance? I don't know.
It's called the catchment area.
Catchment.
That's what it is.
Catchment.
So what a catchment area means is if you call an ambulance, the hospital that you will be taken to. So it's not if you're sick, you want to go to the emergency department. Like everyone, like everywhere has the ability to choose which emergency department they would like to go to.
Peterborough.
If you want to drive for 5 hours, I know someone at this table that was born at Peterborough Civic Hospital, and it's a real gem of the course.
1980.
It was dark.
It was dark.
It was a cold April.
Dark and stormy. So, what was I even talking about?
Yeah, catchment area.
Oh, catchment area. So let me tell you.
Thankfully, we've got a host here.
Let me tell you about. Can we talk more about Peterborough? So a catchment area works that it basically, if you call 911 and an ambulance has to come and get you, unless it's for something that is specifically offered at a larger acute care center, then you're coming to Leamington. And there's 150,000 people in Essex County that are inside the Erie Shores catchment area, and they live in Leamington, and they live in Kingsville, and they live in Harrow, and they live in Amherstburg, and they live in Tecumseh, and they live in Stony Point, and they live in Tilbury, and they live in Wheatley, and they live in Bell River, and they live within about 1 kilometer of the site of the new proposed hospital.
I would hate to be the people that live just to the east of that border and get all the way trucked into Leamington instead of the new mega hospital.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So there is, of course, different protocols that are in place that if you need to,
I'm being facetious.
Well, hey, you're talking to the communications person. I cannot be facetious.
I can. I'm entitled to be facetious.
But let me tell you about how great Erie Shores is. It's really we're in a great spot. And it is truly an exciting time for the all joking aside, it's a very exciting time for the hospital.
Anytime that there's a significant announcement where there's a technology that can benefit the greater public that's available in your backyard is a fantastic day.
Well, and it's just nice to have good news.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know if you know, but it's been a tough few years.
Are you saying there was something that went on around the globe? Anyway. We've got a special guest today. Congratulations. I want to wrap that. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about it.
There are going to be so many MRIs.
I hope that some of our listenership can help support said endeavor, and maybe we'll do something ourselves in order to help, because it's an important fixture of our community. So
we can have Kevin on again to talk about it.
We can have Kevin on again.
Special guest, the other, the co-host,
the other side of Kevin.
Yeah. It's like, how are you going to
professional Kevin?
Maybe we'll green screen me.
I was going to say unprofessional Kevin. Shamelessly plugs Lee and Maria's. Professional Kevin, Erie Shores Health Care.
What are you talking about? I don't even know where this came from. What does this corn cob even mean?
It's delicious.
It looks like this could have come in some custom-made gift basket available if you call Liam Maria's at 519-733-9328.
Wow. This is why we bring them on. Thanks, Kev.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but you might be able to get a couple of cans of Kingsville Brewery thrown into one of those custom-made gift baskets.
We can. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for supporting.
Nice.
We can. We have a special guest this week, and it just so happens to be Steve's daughter, Kalila I'Anson. Thanks for coming, Kalila.
It's my pleasure.
Well, it is your pleasure. Well, geez, your dad. What did your dad tell you to do
here? Can I preface this real quick just to say that this was not my idea initially. This was
Kevin and my idea.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't want
bring your daughter to work day.
Yeah, no. This was So, you guys mentioned it. I asked her. She's happy to be here. So,
Well, and just before we get into it, Kalila, like as Steve told you that normally we pay our guests.
she
right?
calls me dad, but anyway.
Your dad told you normally we pay our guests, so like he'll take
He'll
care
take care of it. Yeah. It's double whatever your allowance.
Yeah, we're going to get a letter in the mail from Sebastian and Nelson a mile long. Like,
Backpack.
Oh, no,
shoot.
we can't. Sebastian's gonna bill us time.
Yeah, how many gift baskets do you have for Sebastian and Nelson now? Okay,
What?
sorry.
Leah Maria's gift baskets available at leahmarias.com.
Okay, let's talk to the guests.
Kalila.
Sorry, Kalila.
Kalila, you are a grade 8 student at Kingsville Public School.
Indeed.
Indeed. And Kalila, you got to take advantage of an amazing opportunity that not a lot of people are. What did you do?
I was a legislative page at Queen's Park.
In Toronto, Ontario.
Yes, in Toronto.
Well, geez. And you're a grade 8 student, and you've already accomplished more than I ever have in my whole career.
Yeah,
No.
So
it's true.
how did you do that? Why you? Why Kalila?
I applied over the summer. At they have a website, ola.org.
OLA.org.
And you can apply if you're in grade 7 or 8, and you get to go if you get in. You have to write an essay and
Okay, so an essay.
yeah.
So what was? No, it's okay. An essay. You had to tell them what?
What have you done to make yourself like a well-rounded individual that be suited for this learning?
They're asking grade 7s and
Opportunity?
8s how to become a Again, she's accomplished more than I have in my 42 years of life. Because
Just being able to figure that out.
I can't write that letter.
I couldn't tell. So what was your answer?
I just named like extracurriculars I've done and things I've helped out with, and yeah.
That's cool.
Major interests and things that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
whatnot. So they're trying to find that you've got some key criteria that would be well suited in order to function as a page.
Yes.
Right. So okay. So you did this because you wanted that experience.
Yes.
And what did you have to do? So take us right back at the back. You wrote your essay, and then what happens?
Well, you gotta get accepted.
Right. So
And
what
then-
happens with the acceptance?
I think they email you.
They do?
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't spam? Because I get a lot of emails saying like, hey, you're related to this prince from Nigeria.
Yeah.
And he's left you $32
Probably the same
million.
Brits we're all related to. But anyway.
I don't know, but Kalila answered that email and she got to be a page at the Ontario
Well, it was sent to her mom, my wife,
Yeah.
Tam, and
Yeah.
Sent to my mom.
And so the email says, Kalila, you've been selected to be a page at the OLA for how long was your term?
My term was 4 weeks. They're not all 4 weeks. Some people serve for 1 day. Some people do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks.
Okay, how many people do 4 weeks? How many? What's the?
We're the first group this year. That did 4 weeks.
You're a trial group that does 4 weeks.
well,
No. They've done it in the past, in ancient time, not ancient.
Ancient. No, you can call them ancient
No,
times.
no,
Anything.
Like way back in the 80s.
No, back in the 1800s, pages would serve for weeks, 11 weeks, 15 weeks.
In the 1800s, when education didn't really matter, and it was just you were a slave to all the MLAs, right? No, that's it.
So what?
No,
What?
and then
MPs,
I even in more recent time, the 1900s,
Yeah,
it's
the olden days.
a page friend of mine's dad served for 7 to 11 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, he was selected, and then they just kept extending, and
They're
he stuck
obviously
around.
they're not concerned with retaining their class point in education right now. Well, we're just going to
Well,
take you out.
No, well, if I can interject real quick, this was the first group. So a full group of pages would be 20 youth, and this was the first group of 20 post-COVID. And what was interesting is one of her classmates was part of this group, and that classmate's brother was part of the last group of 20
Wow.
pre-COVID. So they kind of
Yeah, in the history books, they're in the joining.
yes,
Wow.
yeah, they did do some smaller groups in the last year or so, I think, leading up to this one.
Yeah,
So-
as everyone was remote and whatnot, there wasn't everybody in the full assembly, right?
Right.
So what's a page's role? What's
you
your
basically you're a servant. I'm not gonna lie. You get to like deliver papers back and forth and like water, and you get to help out like the Hansards. So their job is to like write down everything that's said. A lot of deliveries for them up to their office because they have to make sure they've got everybody's speech notes and stuff to make sure that they've got down everything everybody said. So
Now, do you know much about the tradition of pages?
well, I know that they've been around since like the beginning, since like Confederation and legislative assemblies were a thing. There's been pages because they I don't think pages were like paid anything at first really or in school because they just needed people to deliver notes. So
Get me coffee! Coffee!
and
No, did you get anyone coffee?
no, there's people that'll ask you to get them things. You have to say like, no, I can only get water.
That is not my job. Sorry, Douglas Ford. It's not my job.
Well, if you think about it though, like back and today it seems like the page is still a very important role, but it's sort of ceremonial at the same time too.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff is online now. Like sometimes you'll go to people with like a Hansard slip for their notes and be like, oh, I just saw it, I'll email it over or stuff like that. So
but it's in like they're called pages because they would deliver pages.
Yes.
Because it was the only way for an MPP on one side of the house to be able to speak with the Hansards or the speaker or anyone on the other side of the house because it was paper.
Yep.
Like there was no way to just shoot them a text while you're just sitting there chilling at your desk.
Clarence! What do you think about this motion?
I don't know why they all have British accents in my mind.
Yeah.
But they all do. They all do.
Oh, hey, I think it's just what happens, when you're an MPP in the 50s. You just got a British accent.
So what were some of the rules you had to abide by?
uniforms for one thing. It's a 3-piece suit for a uniform, and everything has to be black or white. Like if you have a hair clip in, and usually those are not allowed, so but if you did, it had to be black. Like socks had to be black, shoes had to be plain and black, white colored shirts with nothing on them.
That's the uniform. That's the role. So 4 weeks. 4 weeks you got to do this. So week 1, day 1. What was the introduction to being a page? Did they like make you do push-ups and run up and down those stairs?
Well, there is a lot of stairs.
Did you get paper cuts?
No. One thing with the first day is on the orientation day, you're meant to get like fitted for your uniform. So when you show up on the first day, you have a uniform that fits you and you're not like scrambling around to get a uniform. But on my orientation day, QP was striking.
I remember that day.
Yes. So do you have something to say, Dad?
Protesting.
Protesting. And the seamstress couldn't get in to like help anybody get a uniform that fits. So instead of getting there on 8 a.m. on the first day, we got there at 7 a.m. And it was like a mad dash. Miss Paula, who's one of the people there, trying to get everybody a uniform that fits them.
But you got one.
Oh yeah, everybody ended up with a uniform.
And then training began.
Yeah, pretty much.
So first day, overwhelming. Did you think,
yes,
you know what?
Overwhelming because you have to memorize 124 members of provincial parliament. Faces, names, where they sit, ridings for the most part. I wasn't great at the ridings bit, but
I don't know any of them outside of our local area.
You know one.
Yeah, but not outside of our local area. I couldn't tell you who, like, Middlesex.
Rob Flack.
I don't know. Boys.
I know him because I have a friend that's from his riding. So
See, well, you play the association game.
yeah,
Davenport.
Exactly. Yeah. Merritt Stiles.
Peterborough.
There's Peterborough, Kawartha.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave Smith.
Oh yeah.
Dave Smith, who sits 5 seats away from David Smith.
How many Smiths are there?
5.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Todd Smith, Graydon Smith, Laura Smith, Dave Smith, and David Smith.
Do you remember Todd Smith?
No.
He's or Belleville. He was did mornings on.
He's the Minister of Energy.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not kidding.
Well,
yeah.
Geez. Holy cow. Anyway, all right. That's crazy. But
yeah.
Still. So, okay, you had to memorize that. So, intensive training, memory, and then you figure out what it is that you got to do. So, day 1 of actual, like, we're in session.
A lot of people didn't realize how important the Hansards were at first. So the poor Hansards have their slips and they're just waving their arms off, trying to get someone's attention. And, Yeah, I think everybody was probably feeling really jittery.
Mm-hmm.
Nerve-wracking.
Did anyone like make a funny noise or face or say something silly to like break the tension, or was it like professional from get-go?
No, like the thing with Mondays is legislative Mondays, they don't start till 10:15 instead of 9.
Mondays.
I was like, ugh. Yeah,
So we actually got class, and we didn't actually probably get class the first day. It was just our teacher, Mr. G, explaining that everything is going to be fine because everybody was freaking out.
well, but after that first day, what was your initial thoughts after getting over the hump and doing the first routine?
Week 1 was very nerve-wracking, but by week 3 and 4,
Well, yeah.
I was fairly confident.
Yeah, you memorized everyone from Grey Bruce County.
Is that near on sound?
Yes.
Okay, Rick Byers.
I'm sorry, Kalila. I don't mean to do this. I just think it's remarkable that you memorized all of them. And we're adults, and I can't tell you what I did yesterday. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So okay,
It's London Fanshawe. Like you just
yeah.
Is it Armstrong?
It could be.
Is it?
Okay, well, I don't know. We'll do one more. Chatham, Kent, Essex.
Yeah.
There's not such a Chatham, Kent, Essex.
No, it's Leamington.
Chatham, Kent,
Chatham, Kent,
Leamington. Sorry.
Leamington.
Sorry.
Oh, that was a trick question.
There we go.
Chatham, Kent, Leamington is Trevor Jones, and Essex is Anthony Liardi.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
We got to meet.
Well, yeah,
Me and my dad.
we were gonna get there.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna get there.
Sorry.
Okay, so through the weeks, what was your typical day? Just running notes back and forth?
Well, depends what happens. So, like, say a typical day where we start at 9, then there's 2 groups, Group A and Group B. And if it was a Wednesday, then Group B, I was in Group B. So we had a class called Legislative Process class, which is pretty much like political science class for grade 8s meets history class meets what's going on all around us class. So we had that class in the morning. Well, the other group had something called Orders of the Day. And Orders of the Day, it basically goes from 120 people to 20 people. And they talk about a certain bill or motion and they debate. So, and then it would be lunch, and it would be a short lunch that day, I think. And then after lunch, Group B gets Orders of the Day from 1 to 6.
Wow. So this would go on off and on throughout the week.
Yes, and then from 10:15, it's morning routine, so it's like introduction of guests, introduction of visitors and members' statements, and then it's a question period, which is an hour of questions, and that's where everybody's there. Everybody's usually there for question period, because it's where the opposition, who is currently the NDP, asks questions of the government, which is currently the PC caucus. So
That's the fun part.
Yeah, that's when all the the Mr. Speaker.
Did you get to see any yelling?
yeah, there's hecklers for sure.
Well, not just from the audience, from the actual members.
No, the audience can't yell.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
They get thrown out.
I know.
They get thrown
And
out.
well, they
One
do
lady-
get thrown out, and we saw that prior to you starting. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So week 3, you got a little more comfortable. But what happens through the week? There's a special day when you got to do something, and I saw on somebody's social media that were you the head page?
Yeah, so I was a page captain.
Page captain. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, it means you get to be part of the speaker's possession, which is what they do in the morning, and it's the speaker, usually a couple of the clerks, and the sergeant at arms.
Yeah.
The sergeant at arms, which was Jackie Gordon. She retired my final week, so she's no longer the sergeant at arms, but she was, and she was really nice. So
You're getting all the experiences. Jeez. Point, historical point and whatnot. Wow. Incredible. So week 3, week 4, you're getting the swing of this. What was the most unique part of the experience? What do you remember happening and be like, wow, I got to do that?
well, I got to meet lots of interesting people. I got to hear a lot of things happen and a lot of interesting things, I guess. And I learned a lot.
There's got to be one thing though. It's like, I was sitting there with a piece of paper and then I dropped it, and then who picked it up? It was Doug Ford.
Well,
No?
on my last day, and this was just pretty funny because I thought it was interesting, is so there wasn't a ton of people at first, but Stephen Lecce asked me to deliver a note to him, to one of the other ministers, and I did that, and he gives me a blank sticky note. So I obviously, I'm not allowed to read anything, so I take it to the guy. I'm not going to question it because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Minister of Education.
I give it to the guy, the minister, and he looks at me and says, who's this from? And I said, Minister Lecce. And he's like, okay. And then Mr. Lecce's like, come back. And I came back, and he gives me the actual sticky note with the writing on it. I said, I forgot to write on it. So I take this back to the guy I brought the original sticky note to, and he's like taking a pencil, he's trying to decode like whatever hidden message is in the sticky note.
What did he say?
Mr. Lecce gave him. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Well, yeah, those are highlights. So
I will, and this is things that may not necessarily mean a lot to her right now, but it was one of the first days she was there, and there was still a lot of excitement and I don't know if raucousness is a word, but let's make it a word for the moment with the whole CUPE situation. And there was a news clip, and it showed Minister Lecce and Premier Ford in the clip. And during that clip, she's handing something to Premier Ford.
yeah, I saw it.
And I'm just, as a dad, I'm like, there she
That's
is.
what I thought she was going to say. That's the story I thought. I was
Well-
like, I was on TV.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is she, because she obviously didn't see the TV at the time, and then there were other funny moments like bumping into a door and stuff like that.
I did accidentally hit Michael Ford with a door on my first hit.
Well, hey.
And he was like, I didn't hit him with it. It's a door, and you can't obviously see through it because it's a door, not a window.
Yeah.
And I pushed the door open to like the water station, which also happens to be pretty much inside the government lobby. So I opened the door, and it like lightly hit him, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And I felt so bad because he's literally a minister. And he's like, no, it's okay. It's no big deal. This happens all the time. And he was actually really nice about it. So
They are people too.
yeah, I know. He was really good.
Maybe.
It's the whole process for her has been fantastic. And when I don't want to say put on the spot like this, but for her first interview, obviously there's things she's going to miss.
Yeah.
But the stories that kind of keep unfolding are incredible. And as far as what she's learned and the people she's met. And
You just finished a week ago, right? Less than a week ago. So you're just getting back into the swing of things, and you got to reflect back on all of what you have done and experienced, and what you're gathering from it. Well, what kind of friends and connections now have we got? We got an inside in. Can we make some things happen?
Well, I did get to meet the premier.
Well, hey.
I don't want to start with that.
Yeah.
But I did, and I got to take a picture with him. So I've got that hopefully coming. You get a memory packet, but it hasn't come yet. They're mailing it to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hopefully they didn't forget.
no, hopefully they remember. And I got to meet the interim leader of the Liberals currently for the provincial parliament. I got to meet the interim leader of the
Yeah,
it
is it
still
Steve?
Del Duca?
No.
John
No.
Fraser.
John Fraser.
Del Duca's out of he
Yeah,
ran for mayor of somewhere.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I got to meet the interim leader of the NDP, who is Peter Tabbins, and the leader is now Merritt Stiles. They did an election, and she didn't quite take over by the time we left, but she probably will when they sit back in February. So
The process leading up to it was interesting too, because obviously we all have political beliefs, and we don't always agree with certain people. And Tam and I said to her, like, just because you hear things in this house based on, you cannot go in thinking that so-and-so is a bad person, and there are ministers who take a lot of heat, but like she said, like, so-and-so is a really nice guy. And I have no doubt that he is. So I'm glad she did go in with that open mind and not thinking, because one of her teachers did say, if you see so-and-so, give them a dirty look for me.
Hey now. Hey now.
Hit him with the door.
Which was, just don't.
no, and I obviously would not.
But it was,
so.
and then I'm seeing people are sending me stuff like Trustee Burgess, my story. So I'm in a pub on University watching the England game.
Because he's bored because you're doing your official thing, and Steve gets a holiday in Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm up there, and and then as I'm ready to leave, I bump into Trustee Julia Burgess. So
And all the gin joints.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. She was obviously she does a lot of traveling and work in her role, and she had been across the street, so it was kind of interesting. But she sent me Stephen Lecce's tweet recently. He had just posted a tweet of himself with all the pages, and it was interesting because my mindset has changed, because you scroll through the comments and there's a lot of derogatory things, a lot of mean things being said. And I basically want to say, look, yeah, sure, don't agree with the policies. That's within your right, but doesn't make this person a bad person. It means that they're doing their job how they see fit.
Wow, isn't that an encapsulation of everything that's wrong with politics right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It
sure.
is.
You know,
Honestly.
I mean, like if I don't agree with someone, I might say, I don't agree with you. This is why.
Yeah.
But I am not like,
Yeah, we've had
this is an aside, obviously. But her being there, again, is sort of changed a lot of things, how we look at things.
picking a new party, are you?
You know, it's funny because I'm looking at you and I'm thinking, I know what the next question is going to be. No, because I don't really have a party.
Yeah, oh, no.
You know, like anyone who knows me knows I'm more left leaning than right leaning, and I'll fully admit that. But that doesn't mean that I agree with everything that the Liberals or NDP do, or that I disagree with everything that the Conservatives do. But
Yeah,
Anyway.
you've described most of society. Anyway, we're not talking
Yeah.
about
no,
extreme-
yeah, we're
It's
diverse.
the Kalila show
Yes.
today. But yeah,
One thing we learned in legislative process class is that the majority of people do fall in the center.
right,
There's not a lot of people that are very left or very right.
that's called reasonable human beings, right? And what social media and things like that want you to believe is that the radical ends of both sides of the issues are where people are, and you should join my side and they're horrible, and no, you should join my side and they're horrible. But you didn't see any of that, right? You saw
No.
ministers having to work
And
together.
quite frankly, a lot of people were very respectful of each other. Like I said, there's always heckling, but people were, like, for the most part, respectful. It was very interesting, as one of the things that I thought was interesting is John Fraser, again, the interim leader of the Liberals at this time, called a vote. And when votes are called, it's either a 5-minute bell or a 30-minute bell, depending on how many people are around. So this one was a 30-minute bell.
And that
So
means
they need to call in all of the members to vote on something.
yeah. So did
Because
they do it in like a
obviously-
huddle in like the stands?
No, the way votes work is everybody sits at their desk and then they have to rise until they are acknowledged by the clerks. So basically everybody got called in for a vote that ended up not passing. But before everybody left, John Fraser was like, just wanted to take this moment while you're all here to wish you a very happy holidays. And he did it to get them all there to say like happy holidays and all that. And then he said, now I'm going to start talking about this bill again. And everybody left.
No.
Beyond the political side of things, obviously there was some connections made with your fellow pages.
Yes. I made a lot of friends, which was good.
Well, yeah, of course. It's a new experience. It's great to
But from across the province.
Yes,
too.
I made a friend. She's from Ottawa. Her name's Mabel.
Mabel from Ottawa. Hi, Mabel from Ottawa. If you ever listened, you should send her the link and say,
Okay.
Yeah.
so my dad has this show on the internet with his friends, and I was on it. And so
Well, we'll say,
we talked
well,
about it.
I might as well say hi to her dad, Sean, then too, since the four of us went to dinner.
And then,
Can I make a shameless plug now too?
no? And then
Of course you can. It's our show, your show.
That's our show.
it was funny on orientation day to us because I was talking to a girl and I was like, "Oh yeah, where are you from?" And she's like, "Well, I'm from this really tiny town called Wawa, which is where my mom's from originally."
I know,
boy.
like, crazy.
My grandma and grandpa.
Was your mom there? Sorry.
No, my dad
What,
was.
did because your mom went up and visited too? Did you make the connection?
No, my mom didn't get to meet her, unfortunately. But
Okay, go on.
Probably knew her.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I went to school with her dad. Never.
no, so that was an interesting thing. Quite a few GTA kids, but like not as many as you'd think. Like there's a girl from London, so
And you were the only.
Sault Ste. Marie.
You and your classmate were the only ones from Kingsville or this area. You said. How many from this area went?
just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Just you. Next one being London,
Yes.
and then most Toronto and Ottawa.
Yeah, Toronto, Ottawa, and then like Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, Wawa.
Cochrane,
Still, they're
Peterborough.
the old
Yeah,
the old
Peterborough.
joke of Ontario ends in London,
Yeah.
right? So you got to be proud, right? You have to be proud of this accomplishment and all of the things that you got to experience and do, and then spending some time with your dad in Toronto. Any fun things?
We went to the distillery district.
Yeah, the on the night where
holiday.
they lit the Christmas tree.
Oh, well,
so
hey.
cool.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Full credit to, again, my wife. Like she's on it. She's a planner. and
Lovely woman.
She's did a lot of research, so she's like, "Oh, this is happening and this is happening." We had a quick peek at the gingerbread lane at the Fairmont Royal York. It's basically all this gingerbread stuff. Yeah, I was up there for 2 of the 4 weeks, and it was interesting. It was interesting because I did sit in the gallery a couple of times, so obviously, that side of things was interesting. Seeing Toronto was interesting. Just the orientation day, she rode the subway for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then a few days later, you feel like a pro on the TTC. It's like, okay, you tap your card and off you go, and so
Until everything's delayed. The streetcar's down.
Well, I think we lucked out.
Yeah, there was one day when I was with my nana and granddad that I think something was happening at Union, like a problem. And the streetcar let us off the stop before Union. So me and my nana and granddad walked to Union Station.
Spry.
And then we waited for the subway for like 15 minutes and it did not come. So we walked to King Station, which is the one next to Union, and then took the subway somehow through Union to Queen's Park Station. So
Oh, it's a miracle.
yeah, we ended up getting there. We found Mabel halfway through.
Oh, hey, Mabel.
She's
I know.
I
Track
found
her
Mabel
down.
on the subway all the time. Like I'd be coming up the escalator and we'd just like, oh my gosh.
Well, what they try to do is, like she mentioned, Group A and Group B, and it was divided by where you were coming from, basically location wise. So obviously, anyone from out of town had to find their own accommodations. Some people had family or friends that they were able to stay with. Some didn't, and
We did not.
Call it B.
so that made a difference when you hop on the subway and then you see a fellow page, and there's that connection right away. And what's interesting too is the connection from the Queen's Park station to Queen's Park.
Yeah, it comes right up there. Like,
There's a tunnel.
oh yeah,
Oh,
there's
really?
a tunnel that you don't need to tell everybody about the tunnel because what if they try to get in?
No, they won't.
Yeah, there's two key card doors. There's
Yes.
there's
No.
two key card doors.
Yes.
But
there's.
yeah, there is a tunnel underground from the subway station to Queen's Park, and I did not take it most of the time because it takes arguably longer than just going up and walking. But
It's a secret tunnel, though. You got to take the secret tunnel.
I would take the secret tunnel
I
every
did
day.
take the secret tunnel
Yeah,
with Mabel. I took it a few times.
So aside from the secret tunnel,
Was it lit by candles?
were there people like
It was really
carrying large implements guarding the doors to the secret?
Like battle axe.
There's the English accent again. Like, yes, apparently the guards have English accents too.
I think they're from Switzerland.
The Swiss guard.
Yes, they have their own army knives.
So you had a great experience.
Yes, it was amazing. I
So-
loved it.
Sorry, Dave. What happens? So you're there for a month. What happens with like your regular school?
That's where I was going.
oh,
Come on.
so
I
like,
was gonna say
Okay.
you had a
so
great
how
experience.
many math tests do you have? Like just
No, the
piling up.
The thing is, the thing is, my teacher sent me
Great
with
minds.
my teacher sent me with math work to do because the only two classes you do there are like legislative process, which is what I said is like it's like weird political science meets history meets grade 8, and you do that class, and then you have like a math class every other day for whatever amount of time, depending on when lunch is. And
Did they feed you?
yes,
Was it government lunch?
no, you have to bring your own lunch.
Well, they didn't feed you. No. Oh, jeez. Come on. They could at least feed the pages.
No,
Did you? Did they do like art class or?
no. Thank.
We did.
No,
We
I'm so
did-
glad we didn't have to do art. I'm not a great artist.
Wow.
So hard for that joke, Kim.
We got lunch one day with
I had a plan.
with MP Liardi.
There we go.
Yeah,
there was
that's
There is
I'm
there is
Peculiarity. He was really nice.
Yeah, there is a tradition. I know, I was speaking with our former MPP, Taras Nadashak, just a little bit about this leading up to it. And he said there is a tradition where the MPPs, if they have, a page from their riding, will take them to lunch. So we did have lunch with Anthony Liardi. It was
McDonald's.
No. So the funny story is in the basement, which is where the page quarters is, because like there's 5 stories to the building in a basement, and in the basement it's like it's like a big hallway, and at the end there's like a dining hall, and then there's the cafeteria. So the dining hall is only open on Wednesdays. So I think Mr. Liardi was originally planning to take us to like the dining hall, but it was a Thursday, so we went to the cafeteria instead.
Oh, hey.
So it was still really good. It was still
good
really
food.
great.
Yeah, it was good conversation.
Do you have Subway?
No.
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 No, we were
One
tired
story-
of Subway
one funny
'cause we
story
had to ride
is
it there and
if-
back every day.
If you're standing in the basement or you're in the page quarters, the floor will shake
Yeah,
because of the subway.
Oh, the secret tunnel.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, there's probably a Cinnabon in it.
Oh, we're there at this episode, folks. Thanks for staying tuned. But so you got to get caught up on your regular studies.
Yeah,
It's a good thing you
I
got.
do have a math test next week.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've studied and whatnot.
yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
You're going to be well prepared,
Yep.
right? So, if you could go ahead and do it all over again, would you?
Yes.
And do you think that political science and/or politics may be in your future?
Yes.
Well, geez, if that's not convincing, I don't know what else is. You got that much out of it, though. You got to see how the sausage is made. That's
Yeah,
what
I know
they were
that was the most interesting part, is just seeing how it all works, because like I was not incredibly aware of provincial politics before
No, 'cause
this.
you're 13, right? Like at 13, I don't even know if I could put on both socks that matched. But I'm a boy, and that was
I don't think I'd ever been out of Omimi. No.
There's more world outside of me, Mom. I can't get out of the gully.
it's in the valley, right?
How you go up there? Which way's Toronto?
That's the crow flies.
Oh boy.
So are you gonna like take your page work on the road? Like you're gonna apply for the feds now?
You can't
boy.
do that till you're 18,
Oh, really?
and you have to be fluent in English and French, which I am. I am
Which
in
you
French
are.
immersion, so. But
The Ontario pages are actually the youngest in the Commonwealth.
yes, my friend Mabel was the youngest page in the Commonwealth, like at the time of us like serving.
She was 12 then.
Yes,
She's still 12.
she's still 12.
So when you get in the feds, you can hang with Mabel in Ottawa, right? Like, hey, you in Hull?
We walk across the bridge together.
Oh, 18's an interesting time around there.
Yeah. 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 I wasn't going to go there because, Steve's here. And out of respect for Steve, we'll just.
It's okay.
But that's something to strive for, though.
I've
and I'm
got a
sure,
son born on St. Patrick's Day. I'm already in for a
Hey.
world of pain. But anyway.
Oh, you're
Like
admitting
his
that he's a
hat.
little Irish, are you?
Yeah.
Like Mr. Black's hat.
Yeah. You can call him Kevin here. It's okay. You can call me Dave, too. I know it's respect. I appreciate it, but we're all friends here.
You can still call me Dad.
Yeah, he's the only one. Strict rules. Well, Kalila, thanks for coming in and sharing your story with us.
It's very good.
For all those kids, what was the website again? If they, if whatever, there was somebody that listened and said, hey, that
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah, if you want to be a page, the website is ola.org, or you can just search Ontario Legislative Assembly. They've got an entire website set up. It can tell you a bunch of different things, and it's incredibly daunting at first, and then you kind of get there and you get used to it, and it's a lot easier.
It is definitely experience you cannot get here in Kingsville.
No,
Absolutely. Well,
unfortunately.
congratulations again. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming and sharing your story with us, because we thought, Kevin and I, and again, we asked Steve if you would bring Kalila on, because it's such a remarkable opportunity that not a lot of people get to take advantage of, and we wanted you to tell your story. So thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, gentlemen, it's the holiday season. This is it for us. Well, you don't have to take off your headphones if you want to keep listening to us. We're not done recording. We got to end the show now.
Yeah, this is the end.
Yeah. All right, fine. Just don't listen to us anymore.
I'm gonna go call my mom back.
Okay. Oh,
All right.
Kalila, how did you do on the show?
that's not how Tammy sounds. I'm sorry, Tammy. I'm sorry. That was terrible. I'm sorry, Tammy.
I'm just gonna step outside to call it.
Go right ahead. It's cold out. Well,
Wear a jacket.
She's been a page. I think she knows how to put a jacket on, Kevin.
Steve.
Sorry, Steve.
Yeah, thank you, because we didn't want it to seem like you were just putting.
No,
it on
and
her.
honestly, and it's not something that I had thought about. And when you guys first mentioned it, I was I was humbled. It's what was Dennis's term? Hokey. It sounds hokey, but no, I was humbled, and I appreciated it. And I went home that night and said, they'd like you to come on the show when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, and I asked her too when I ran into you guys. I'm like,
Yeah.
Lila, please
So-
come on the show.
So she was
That would have
happy
been
to do
front
it.
page of the Reporter. What, no
It
matter
should have been.
no
Yeah.
matter who the
She would've-
child was.
She would have
It
been the
would've
front page.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. I got. That's not what you meant. No. Well, actually, I do know one of the. What's interesting is in the page quarters they have articles on the wall of all the former pages, recent articles. And a few years ago, I did an article on Madison Booth, And sure enough, my article. So this was on the orientation day, right? So what they do is
why do we hear this story now, Steve?
The pages, because Kalila wasn't there for this, because what the pages are off with their teachers, and they're doing their thing, and all the page parents are being given a little bit of a tour, and the page quarters themselves are not identifiable, right? They're
Thanks, Kalila.
They're there.
Bye.
And so we're looking around, and sure enough, there's my article. I'm like, I said, well, there's my byline. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
It was
Forever
Hey, your
preserved.
article is like hanging at Queen's Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
pretty
didn't quite look
cool.
at it that way, but yeah, it was nice to see. But no, so we've done them. I've done a couple in the past of local pages.
Didn't we go to school with someone who was a page?
I don't know. I know our friend Dr. Monker I believe he was a page
Was
at
he a
one
page?
point. I think so. And I want to say somebody close to our age. But
I have been absolutely
30 years. It's like
all those brain cells that I no longer possess through no fault of anyone else's but my own.
so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
But if you're that page, please contact us and let us know who you are.
yeah, that would be interesting actually to just
Talk to
Well,
where are they now?
Right.
three of the
Kingsville
pages parents were former pages. And there was one girl on their orientation day. Her sister was actually selected to be a page 2 years ago. COVID hit, so she didn't get the opportunity. So she was kind of, getting a little taste of the action, if you will, vicariously through her sister.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It was. There's many stories that we'll chat about over time, and I'm sure Kalila will be like, "Oh, I wish I would have mentioned that." But
again, those experiences and stories that she's got, they'll last a lifetime. And hopefully, if she decides to choose a career in politics, that this effort that she's done and this experience that she's had gives her that advantage to be able to be a little bit more decisive and figure out how to do it earlier on so that she gets set on a better path rather than trying to fumble through like, I think I want to be a politician. What do I got to do? Well, she already knows the whole process and what it is to, that's expected.
no, and she'll anyone who has questions, she's happy to answer them. Whether it's a parent, is this something that's right for my child? Like, it's an incredible opportunity, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
So should we turn the page?
We should turn the page.
Yep. Merry Christmas, boys.
It is Christmas. Yes. Yeah, this is our last episode for 2022. This is 2 years. We've done it now.
2 years.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
For putting up with us.
Yeah. 2 years of torment and a lot of fame, local fame, we're up to 39 listeners now. It's crazy. Actually, we're almost 200 subscribers on YouTube. So, that channel is just growing like mold.
like an old oak tree. It's taking its time.
I was working the other day, and I bumped into our friend Christina Bedell.
Did you? How was Christina?
She was fantastic, and she she's I want to commend you guys on the podcast. Every time I listen, I learn something new. So I thought that was nice. And I was at the office the other day, and a couple of fellow employees were chatting, and one lady's like, "Oh yeah, I subscribe to the podcast." I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you."
There we
I
are.
appreciate it. So
Someone came into the market and was talking to my wife and say, you're an absolute doll, but I really don't care for your husband and his podcast.
come on, really?
True story.
Oh wow.
We get them on the show because that kind of truth only comes in certain special places. You are
Yet apparently they're still listening.
not many people.
Punishment.
Not many people have really associated Jen and me being a couple. It's crazy how many people that know Jen and then know me, but don't realize that Jen and I are husband and wife and have been for a very long time.
Well, at least you've got that common name. You don't have the I'Anson there.
I say
Black.
There's only 6 of us in Kingsville right now.
That's
So,
true. That's true. It's like, well, I'm in a theory of deduction. You must be related. Well, there's not many hunts in town either, but it's just funny though because it's
every fall there's the pheasant hunt,
let's
and then there's
start
the
it.
Easter egg hunt,
not even gonna.
No.
Yeah.
no.
duck hunt. There we go.
Wah, wah.
Oh, gentlemen, Christmas plans. We're going to go down to Lakeside Park and ride that train, Steve, on that wonderfully paved
Come on, ride
path.
the train. Come on, ride. Woo, woo.
The Quad City DJs. For all you people that were, born in the early 80s and you listen to dance, Quad City DJs. See, you know I'd get that one.
No, I'm hoping for something relatively low key and healthy and not in pain.
It's going to be like 57 people in my house.
Oh,
So many.
Yeah. Well, but at
that's
least
a
this year.
good-
That's a lineup.
That's a good Heinz variety.
Oh, that was unintentional.
He's getting them all out. These are all
No, but
ringing it like
I didn't
ringing
know
that-
if he was indicating something.
wringing that towel out. Oh, it's a good thing though that this year finally we don't have any pending restrictions. The last two Christmases we did, right? And it was a matter of, we had to limit our interactions and our dealings, and I want to say that over the last 6 months, or 6 months plus, with the reopening and the reintegration of, getting to hang out with folks has been highly rewarding and great for my own personal mental health, but
Yeah.
I can tell it in everyone. The interaction of being able to celebrate events and gather for the holidays is so important that, I wish everyone and all a very safe and happy holidays, from the 3-4 of us to everyone. Thank you for listening to us over the last couple of years. We're going to start 2023 with a bang again, as we alluded on the beginning of the episode. Kevin reading a budget. We will not do that.
I'm gonna bring a big chair. We're gonna lower the lights.
On that note,
I'll wear my night shirt. Start from the top. A is for administration.
can we just invite Ryan on to get the nuts? and bolts?
General
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. And probably we'll have CAO John Norton back on again to discuss some some highlights.
Yep. Some fees.
And we'll see where the council is and what's happening early on, because they'll be in the full swing of things after the holidays, and it's their choices to make. It's their motions to
Time to get crack-a-lackin'.
and create what you're going to create. So from all of us here at That Kingsville Podcast, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and please, and what was it? Subscribe and like.
Yeah.
Subscribe
Not
and like.
one of those.
Yeah, it has helped, and we appreciate your adding to that algorithm. But thank you very much, and have a happy holidays.